Alright guys, welcome back to Formula 1 news. Huge drama at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen P6, Perez P7 after passing Perez when Perez was on the older medium tyres with the soft and trying to chase down Alonso for P5 and better positions in the race. He was told by his team, look, if you don't make any progress, give the position back to Perez. He needs those points for his championship fight. Doesn't do so at the end of the race, says that he's already given his reasons behind the scenes, and now Perez comes back and says it shows who he really is as a driver and as a teammate. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. Don't forget to do that one. And yes, as Jana Wame very nicely says, some drivers may not help their teammates again because Sergio Perez has no doubt been a massive servant to Red Bull, but also to Verstappen's championship hopes in the last couple of seasons, and has not been repaid the favour today. There is no doubt about it. Firstly, it was also happening with Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. Carlos had P3. Charles Leclerc wanted that P3 to get those further points. So close is the battle for P2 in the championship between Charles Leclerc and Sergio Perez. Perez just had the lead, but Charles Leclerc is looking pretty close at the moment, so Charles wanted those extra points. Ferrari said, look, you know what, Carlos has earned his podium here, we're not going to give it to you. They said, like, yeah, too risky or whatever, but probably that's what they meant. And Charles Leclerc says, look, we talked about it before the race that we were going to swap if that situation was to occur. They didn't, but it kind of is what it is. And as he was saying, think about every point in the championship. Now, the same situation was kind of occurring here with Red Bull. What had happened is Verstappen had got past Perez, was on those mediums, was kind of struggling right after the safety car restart. Verstappen was going to chase down Alonso and try and take some points off the Ferraris effectively. When he couldn't do that, couldn't get past Alonso, it was like, yeah, Perez, go back through. They even said to Perez on the radio, Max is going to let you through now. And Perez came up to the line and was like, well, where's Max? Did he let me through? Like, where is this guy? So this was the radio message here. I'm not sure I can share the video, but I'll put the picture up, and I'll just play the audio of this where Max says what he says on the radio.
Here, bit of Max Verstappen, I think, on the team radio.
Max, let Checo through, please. Max, what happened?
I told you already last time. You guys don't ask that again to me. Okay? Are we clear about that? I gave my reasons, and I stand by it.
And as you guys well heard, are we clear about that? I gave my reasons and I stuck by it. So yeah, obviously we don't know the reasons. The reasons have been described clearly behind the scenes, but this is quite the show of defiance really by Max Verstappen, right? I mean, look, he's the main doc. He's the big guy over there, not just in Formula 1, but also most certainly at Red Bull. And seemingly he's the guy that calls the shots. But this is quite the statement, right? Even his race engineer was saying, Max, like, what happened there? Come on, we told you what to do and you didn't do it. You won the championship. We won the constructors. Like, come on, help your team out. He's helped you enough, and Max refuses to do so. Like, this is crazy to me because I thought those guys were, you know, great friends and great camaraderie, but apparently that's not necessarily the case, right? Especially because it's P6 for Max. It's not a podium, you know, like it's not exactly like it matters too much. I guess Verstappen really wants to extend that record of points scored in a season to the maximum number, but I don't really understand the reasoning behind this unless he actually wants Charles Leclerc to get P2 in the championship, because as it turned out now after the race, like this is the quote again in full, Max, let Checo through please. Like, no, I'm not going to do it. I gave my reasons, I stand by it. These were the final placements, right? So Hamilton or Russell, Hamilton, Sainz, Leclerc, Alonso, Verstappen, Perez. So this 7th for Perez and 4th for Leclerc. Now what makes the championship look like this? So Charles Leclerc is now tied with Perez on 290. Before this, Perez was ahead. So going into the final race, that makes things even more interesting, right? Maybe in terms of like placements and stuff, like Perez is still going to get it if both of them DNF or something. But yeah, damn, that was, they could have got in here with Perez having a lead. Verstappen could have easily backed off and let Perez through. Okay, the gap to Perez wasn't anything crazy, but he could have made it happen and they could have got through safe and sound in that P6, P7, but just swap them the other way around. Verstappen refused defiantly, and Perez is not at all a happy man, and you can't really blame him, right? I mean, look, he thinks he's done a lot for Verstappen the last couple of years, the Abu Dhabi incident, and even this season there were plenty of opportunities, right? I mean, even we look back to Spain, for example, when on that occasion there was quite a significant gap that Perez was, well, basically Perez could have overtaken Verstappen because he had some issues and the tyre offset. They forced Perez to stay behind, cost him the race. Well, maybe he wouldn't have won the race anyway, but you guys know what I mean. That was the first Team Orders discussion of the season. And look, Verstappen have won the championship, Red Bull have won the constructors. Why not just give Perez a bit of a tap on the back and say, you know what, fair play, mate. I had damage anyway, so, you know, wasn't really expecting a great result after going to the back of the grid. P7 wouldn't have been that bad for Verstappen, all things considered. And, you know, especially because the safety car kind of helped him towards the ends and doesn't even let Perez through. And as Perez says, it shows who he really is. Thanks for that, guys. Thank you. He's thanking the team for their attempt here. But yeah, I mean, look at these words of Verstappen, man. This is not what you usually see between teammates in Formula One, especially teammates that have just won the World Constructors' Championship together. And this is his further quote, which is, I mean, look, maybe this is a bit too far, but he says, if he has 2 championships, I think if he has 2 championships, it is thanks to me. So, I mean, look, this season he'd have won the championship anyway, but there is a good argument to say that last year, yes, Hamilton at Abu Dhabi 2021 built up a 15-second gap on Verstappen twice in the same race, but he had to build up the second massive gap, or 10 seconds, whatever it was, because he got held up by Perez. That was the big talking point, one of the big talking points of that Abu Dhabi weekends, when Perez defended like a lion from Hamilton, cost him so much time, brought him back to Verstappen, and by the time Perez was eventually passed, then Hamilton had to build up the gap again. And what that meant at the end of the race is that when the safety car happens, if Perez hadn't done that for Verstappen, Hamilton would probably have been able to pit for new softs and had the pit stop gap to Verstappen anyway, so the safety car wouldn't have mattered in that case. Now, as it turns out, because they didn't have the gap, they had to wonder, okay, you know, will the safety car end in time? Will it not? That's where all the drama comes from, of course. But arguably, Perez, by holding up Hamilton, helped Verstappen win that title. There's really no denying it. Now, I guess I'll share the original video right here when he discusses this. It's, you know, a translation is in order, but we believe this translates effectively to, you know, if he's got a couple of championships, it's down to me. Now, as I say, for Perez to say that, probably a bit too far. Verstappen, obviously, you know, look, Perez has helped Verstappen at times this season, but Verstappen would have won this championship anyway. There's really no denying it. But, I mean, still, this apparently is an image after the race of the two of them kind of coming to blows. You can see Verstappen, just the way he's looking at Perez here, it's like, damn, these guys are meant to be teammates that have just won the championship together. Like, damn, this is really spicy stuff, right? And it just goes to show how teaming with Verstappen is not an easy thing to achieve, right? And even Perez and the success he's had alongside Verstappen, it's not something that comes easily to anyone, right? We saw what happened to Albon and Gasly and those guys getting just destroyed by Verstappen, really, on track. And apparently you can also get destroyed by Verstappen off the track, like in this instance as well. Now, there were some questions. Why is this coming up? Like, why did Verstappen not give it back? What are these reasons he's discussed behind the scenes? Brundle in commentary, Martin Brundle, was talking about this instant from Monaco. I don't know if it was this instance, but it's maybe potentially worthy of note. I don't know. At least I thought I'd talk about it because Brundle was convinced it was to do with this. Now, this was Monaco, of course, when Perez, going into the tunnel, effectively went off track while he was ahead of Verstappen in qualifying for the race and bins it in the wall. Then, Carlos Sainz comes around the corner, struggles a bit to not hit him, and then Max Verstappen's there. Well, like, look, my lap just got ruined. Now, this is something that happens on occasion. The driver that's in a good position in qualifying has some incentive to maybe lock up a bit or put it into the wall to ruin the laps of the guys behind. And there's been some talks as to whether this should be penalised in another way, and there certainly was at the time. Is this the instant that Verstappen is still annoyed about and thinks Perez was trying to screw him over for, and now is getting one back by not letting him through despite having won the championship? I just don't get it personally, but I guess racing drivers are just going to be racing drivers, right? But yeah, I know that a lot of people are going to look at this and think, yeah, damn, Verstappen's lost, respect of certain people, because I'm sure people will look at this and think, well, that seems rather uncalled for, especially if Charles Leclerc now goes on to get P2 in the championship by 1 or 2 points, and that could have been a very different story if Verstappen was to have let Perez through in this particular incident. And actually, to follow on from this, a tweet that I've just seen here from Eric Van Haren, who has stated live on Viaplay, apparently, that Perez did deliberately crash in qualifying. Apparently, he's admitted that to Helmut Marko and Christian Horner, that it was a deliberate crash in qualifying to help his race position, because in Monaco, it's all important. So that is quite the admission, right? If Perez, I mean, look, what do you guys think about it now with this new information coming to light? If this is true, that Perez has admitted to deliberately crashing in Monaco, like, does this change your opinion on Max Verstappen not allowing him through again? But like, again, like, hey, whatever, Perez deliberately crashed. They still won the championship. Max is still the winner. I don't really understand why the animosity has to remain, especially because they're meant to be teammates. And surely, okay, you say, whatever, why did you do that? But still, we make up and move on, you would think. But apparently not. And apparently Verstappen still holds resentment to this. And effectively, from what his comments, right, he was like, look, I talked about this. I've given my reasons. I'm never doing that ever again. It was effectively his implication, right? He wasn't saying, this time I'm going to hold my lines. Next time Perez can have it in a similar situation. He was like, yeah, this Perez guy, I'm never letting him through ever again after presumably what he did to me back in Monaco. So yeah, damn, crazy stuff. We're going to have to leave it there for now, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's more on this in the coming days. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.